From being one of the biggest social media platforms in the world to falling into the hands of Elon Musk and becoming a shell of its former self. Seems like the CEO is only now realizing how bad the situation actually is over at Twitter. First, let's talk about the man behind it all. Inside Elon are two wolves. One is the visionary behind SpaceX and Tesla, the other is a relentless troll with the humor of a middle schooler. Musk declared when he took control of the social media site back in October that he was doing it to help humanity rather than to generate more money.
Twitter has become kind of the de facto town square. It's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they are able to speak freely within the bounds of the law.
Apparently to him, it was essential to the future of civilization to have a shared digital town square, where a wide range of opinions can be contested in a healthy manner. But why fix a thing that's not broken? The team at Twitter worked for years to defend the social media network against rash billionaires who wanted to utilize its platform for their own purposes. But one eventually became the CEO. Things are looking gloomy for all of us if Elon Musk is right about Twitter being essential to the future of civilization. A corporation that had a 7,500-strong workforce just 4 months ago now employs just 2,000 people after another round of job cuts. While outages are on the rise and advertising revenues have plummeted, the guy who will be able to save Twitter, and in his opinion, the rest of us, is someone who reportedly hired 80 programmers to tweak the algorithm so his tweets would be more visible than the rest. I knew there was a reason I could see him on my timeline even after muting him.
How do you think about trust?
Well, I think there's, that's really quite a philosophical question.
It is.
And one could wax on at length about that. You're talking about Twitter.
But wait, let's talk more about those layoffs. There were reports that people were showing up to Twitter HQ and finding out they'd been fired, or some mass email being circulated with a meme that informed them of their terminations. Rumors of hundreds of employees storming out, some mid-meeting. So, in the middle of all of this, a Twitter employee by the name of Haraldur Thorleifsson tweeted at Musk to inquire as to whether he was still employed, given that his computer access had been disabled. Instead, he was questioned by Musk about his job role and activities on Twitter for everyone to see. Thorleifsson answered with a list of points in bullet form, but was accused of lying by Musk, who also snarked that he did no genuine work in a comment to another user. But by day's end, Musk had changed his mind. He said that he'd apologized to Thorleifsson for misunderstanding his circumstances after speaking with him. Thorleifsson wasn't even terminated. Instead, Musk claimed that he was thinking about continuing at Twitter. Of course he is now. See, this exchange was bizarre in a number of ways. Musk does really have a collection of nasty tweets that's longer than a CVS receipt, but this felt like a new low, a very visible example of Musk's tendency to constantly find ways to get worse, this time mocking a worker with a disability. But then, Musk rarely expresses regret for being disrespectful online, so the apology was unexpected in and of itself. The most absurd aspect, though, was perhaps Musk's personal assessment of the whole thing. Better to talk to people than communicate via tweet. This is a noteworthy insight from the owner of Twitter, the man who paid $44 billion to become CEO, an executive who's obsessively focused on how much other users tweet on his social platform, and who was reportedly so annoyed that his own tweets weren't receiving the engagement numbers he wanted, that he reportedly forced engineers to change the algorithm in his favor. Well, he denies that bit, but still, Thorleifsson's tweet exchange appears to show a lack of conviction and a lapse in the self-assurance that made visionary Elon so alluring, and the big plans for Twitter 2.0 seem to have fallen through the cracks. Musk outlined a plan for turning the social network into a forum for free speech when he bought Twitter, but in reality, the self-proclaimed chief twit became embroiled in and has now admitted to the thing that many people know to be true about Twitter and social media in general, that rather than offering a platform for full human expression, it can make you a worse version of yourself by bringing out your most repulsive impulses. At any of his businesses, Musk isn't recognized for being the most understanding CEO. For Thanksgiving, he invited SpaceX employees to work on rocket engines. To work remotely, he advised Tesla staff to work somewhere else. His demands at Twitter include very tough work and long hours at high intensity, which former employees believe has led to the termination or forced resignation of people with disabilities. And so, Twitter has felt noticeably worse in the months following the takeover. It's not so much that the content has grown sound more offensive, aggressive, or fake, it's not even about the typical technical issues, like the malfunctioning timeline that many people encountered multiple times since then. The popular sentiment of users is that the platform is boring now. Also, Twitter no longer allows third-party apps to easily access its data, so the majority of these apps, which were crucial to the user experience and to Twitter's development, have been abandoned. Even though it seems like there are more ads than ever, many sponsors have left, which has caused revenues to fall.
But nonetheless, the activist groups have been successful in causing a massive drop in Twitter advertising revenue, and we've done our absolute best to appease them, and nothing is working. So this is a major concern, and I think this is, frankly, an attack on the First Amendment.
Back in its heydays, it was a place for all sorts of users, those interested in politics, sports, and media all across the world. Twitter capitalized on this momentum to become one of the most significant tech businesses. The site often shaped the news agenda and turned anons into main characters. It more than made up for what it lacked in earnings with influence. But in January, Twitter's overall traffic decreased by 2% compared to the same month last year, a number that's since been on a nosedive. And guess what? Employees at Twitter saw it coming when Musk made the ridiculously inflated $44 billion purchase bid for the business. Some employees were excited by the change, but on the other hand, several lawsuits alleging sexual harassment and racial discrimination at Musk's enterprises, as well as his disrespect for employees, was noted by others, who also found his interest in Twitter concerning. And they were right. More than 24 current and former Twitter employees claimed that since purchasing the platform in October 2022, Musk has displayed a startling lack of interest in the people and systems that power his new toy. He's fired thousands of workers, put unwise politics into place, and even some of his most ardent fans have been upset with him. Those stuck by him are at the hands of necessity for health insurance and visas, or cold-eyed mercenaries expecting to rise through a power vacuum. So, is it the beginning of the end? Together with his own wealth, Musk has largely destroyed the equity value of Twitter. Due to his warnings that the business would go bankrupt and the distraction of managing it, Tesla stock crashed, costing him $200 billion. If free expression was his guiding principle for Twitter the platform, Twitter the workplace has experienced the exact opposite. Disagreement or criticism has resulted in quick dismissals. With so few employees and declining profits, it's uncertain if Musk will be able to sustain the new ethos he introduced to Twitter. The network effect that has kept us all on Twitter up until now was always going to give way to another platform at some point. Despite the fact that it may have seemed invincible at one point, you can't entirely blame Musk if Twitter does finally go away, but we can blame him for making it so boring. Anyway, that's all on Elon realizing how bad Twitter really is.